A fan letter, a signed album, a Polaroid in a drawer in Tucson, a camcorder tape sealed in evidence at Scotland Yard. Investigators have a clinical term for the pattern: erotomania, the fixed pathological belief that a famous stranger is in love with the obsessive, and the long, almost always lethal escalation that follows. The United States Department of Justice records 7.5 million victims of stalking each year. The vast majority of those stalkers do not kill. A very small number, perhaps 7 in any given generation, do, and the killings make the network news, change the laws, and end up in the front pages of every newspaper in the country. 7 archetypes, 7 anchor cases, 7 different shapes of the same crime, the obsession that turned, on a single afternoon, into a body. This is every killer stalker, explained in 16 minutes. Archetype 1, the celebrity obsessive. The young, almost always male fan who has built a delusional erotomanic relationship with a young female television actress, and who, after the actress fails to respond to letters and gifts the fan has been sending for years, decides to confront her at her home. West Hollywood, California, July 18, 1989. 19-year-old fast food cook Robert John Bardo from Tucson, Arizona, has for 3 years been sending obsessive letters and gifts to 21-year-old My Sister Sam television star Rebecca Lucio Schaeffer. He has paid a private investigator $150 to obtain her home address through California Department of Motor Vehicles records. He has ridden the bus from Tucson with a .44 caliber Colt revolver in a paper bag. At 10 in the morning, he rings her buzzer at her Spanish-style apartment building on Sweetser Avenue. Schaeffer, expecting a script delivery, opens the door in her bathrobe. Bardo shows her his autographed photograph. She tells him to leave. He returns an hour later, rings again, and when she opens the door this time, he shoots her once in the chest at point-blank range. Schaeffer is dead before paramedics arrive. Bardo is convicted in October 1991 of first-degree murder, life without parole. The Schaeffer case produces California's first anti-stalking statute and the Federal Driver's Privacy Protection Act. The celebrity obsessive archetype is the cleanest pattern in the file. The killer always thinks the actress will be grateful at the last moment to be seen. Archetype 2, the fan-turned-assassin. The grown man, almost always between 25 and 35, who has spent his entire late adolescence believing himself to be one of his idol's true friends, and who, when he discovers his idol has, in his own mind, betrayed him by becoming wealthy and famous, decides to kill him. Upper West Side, Manhattan, December 8, 1980. 25-year-old former Honolulu security guard Mark David Chapman is standing in the archway of the Dakota apartment building on Central Park West. He has been waiting all afternoon. At 5 p.m., John Winston Ono Lennon, age 40, has come out of the Dakota with his wife Yoko Ono and signed Chapman's copy of the new Double Fantasy album. Chapman has taken Polaroids. Just before 11 p.m., the Lennons return from the record plant studio. Chapman is still there. He carries a .38 Charter Arms revolver and a paperback copy of J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye. Inscribed across the inside flyleaf in Chapman's handwriting are 4 words: "This is my statement." Chapman assumes a combat stance. He calls Lennon's name. He fires 4 hollow-point rounds. Lennon dies at Roosevelt Hospital at 11:15 p.m. Chapman pleads guilty in August 1981 to second-degree murder against his attorney's advice. 20 years to life. 12 parole denials since 2000. The fan-turned-assassin archetype is the most photographed pattern in the file. Chapman wanted to be the one who killed John Lennon. He explained in his statement that he had become Holden Caulfield. Archetype 3. The political obsessive. The young man, almost always unemployed and college-educated, who develops a parasocial obsession with a young actress in a celebrated film, and who, in trying to win her attention, decides to assassinate a sitting president as a romantic offering. Washington, D.C., March 30th, 1981. 25-year-old Yale dropout John Warnock Hinckley, Jr. has been following actress Jodie Foster across 2 coastal cities for 18 months. He has slipped love letters under her Yale dormitory door. He has phoned her dormitory line and, when she has refused to speak with him, attempted suicide with phenobarbital and Valium. He has been twice arrested at Nashville International Airport on weapons charges. The morning of March 30th, he writes Jodie Foster a final letter. He explains he will attempt that afternoon what he calls an historic deed to win her love. At 2:27 p.m., outside the T Street entrance of the Washington Hilton, Hinckley fires 6 .22 caliber Devastator hollow point rounds at President Ronald Reagan in 17 seconds. The bullets hit White House Press Secretary James Brady, Secret Service agent Tim McCarthy, D.C. police officer Thomas Delahanty, and Reagan himself in the lung. Reagan survives. Brady is left permanently disabled. Hinckley is found not guilty by reason of insanity in June 1982. He is committed to St. Elizabeth's Hospital. He is granted conditional release in 2016, full unconditional release in June 2022. The political obsessive archetype is the highest stakes pattern in the file. The audience is the woman in the dark. Archetype 4. The romantic Avenger. The older female fan, almost always between 30 and 45, who has insinuated herself into the inner business circle of a young female celebrity and, when she is finally caught embezzling, kills the singer rather than face exposure. Corpus Christi, Texas, March 31st, 1995. 34-year-old former San Antonio nurse Yolanda Saldívar is the fan club president of Tejano singer Selena Quintanilla-Pérez. She is also the manager of Selena's boutique stores in San Antonio and Corpus Christi. The Quintanilla family has discovered that Yolanda has been embezzling at least $30,000 from fan club dues, fashion line revenue, and clothing line wholesale accounts. That morning, in room 158 of the Days Inn Motel on Navigation Boulevard, Yolanda has asked Selena, age 23, to come pick up the missing financial records. At 11:48 a.m., as Selena turns to leave, Yolanda draws a .38 caliber Taurus revolver from her purse and shoots Selena once in the back. Selena runs 50 feet to the motel lobby, names Yolanda to clerk Ruben de Leon, and collapses. She is pronounced dead at 1:05 p.m. at Memorial Medical Center. Yolanda is convicted in October 1995. Life with the possibility of parole after 30 years. March 27, 2025, 30 years to the week of the killing, the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles unanimously denies her parole. The romantic Avenger archetype is the only pattern in the file in which the stalker is older than the celebrity. The pretext for entry is always work. Archetype 5. The Suicidal Devotee. The young male obsessive whose final act is not the murder of the celebrity, but the attempted murder of the celebrity, followed by his own filmed suicide. The entire performance preserved on videotape for the police to discover. Hollywood, Florida, September 12, 1996. 21-year-old unemployed pest control worker Ricardo López has spent 8 months recording a video diary, 22 hours of footage in which he obsesses over Icelandic pop singer Björk Gudmundsdóttir. 3 days earlier, he has mailed her, postmarked from a Hialeah, Florida post office, an acid bomb addressed to her London record label. That afternoon, in his small studio apartment, he places his camcorder on the floor. He sits down. He opens a beer. He listens to Björk's song, I Remember You. He has shaved his head. He has painted his face red, green, and white. At the moment, Scotland Yard, alerted by an FBI cable, is preparing to enter his apartment building. Ricardo López shoots himself in the head with a .44 Magnum. The acid bomb is intercepted on September 16th by London's Royal Mail security X-rays before Björk can receive it. The 19-volume video diary is taken into evidence by Scotland Yard. It remains, 3 decades later, one of the most studied stalking pathology documents in the academic record. The suicidal devotee archetype is the only pattern in the file where the obsessive intends to die. The performance is, in his own framing, the gift. Archetype 6. The celebrity hunter. The career escort, the social aspirant, the man on the periphery of high society, who, after a personal grievance against a wealthy patron, embarks on a cross-country murder spree that culminates in the killing of an internationally recognized fashion designer on his own front steps. Miami Beach, Florida, July 15, 1997. 27-year-old former San Diego high-class male escort Andrew Philip Cunanan has, over the previous 3 months, murdered 4 men across 4 states. Jeff Trail in Minneapolis, David Madsen outside the Twin Cities, Lee Miglin, a 72-year-old Chicago real estate developer, William Reese, a New Jersey cemetery caretaker, killed for his red Chevrolet pickup. Cunanan has been on the FBI's 10 most wanted list for over 2 months. At 8:45 a.m., as Italian fashion designer Gianni Versace, age 50, returns home from the news cafe with his Sunday papers, Cunanan steps from behind a parked SUV on Ocean Drive and shoots Versace twice in the head on the front steps of the Casa Casuarina mansion. 8 days later, on a Miami Beach houseboat, Cunanan shoots himself as a SWAT team prepares to enter. His motive officially remains contested. The Cunanan letters and the San Diego Escort Circuit notebooks are sealed in FBI archives. The celebrity hunter archetype is the only pattern in the file where the obsessive does not, at the moment of the final kill, expect to be caught.
Archetype 7. The ex-boyfriend strangler. The recently broken-up domestic partner of a young rising celebrity, almost always a man, almost always with prior assaults on the same victim documented but not prosecuted, who returns to her home after she has asked him to leave her alone and strangles her on her own front lawn. West Hollywood, California, October 30th, 1982. 26-year-old Mama San restaurant sous chef John Thomas Sweeney is the recently ejected boyfriend of 22-year-old poltergeist actress Dominique Ellen Dunn. Sweeney has assaulted Dominique twice in the previous 6 months. Dominique has broken up with him 5 weeks earlier. She has told him repeatedly and on the night before to leave her alone. At 11 p.m. that Friday, in the front yard of the Spanish bungalow rental on Rangeley Avenue she shares with her boyfriend, Dr. David Packer, Sweeney knocks. Dominique steps out onto the front porch to talk to him. He moves her onto the front lawn. He strangles her on the grass for 3.5 minutes until she loses consciousness. 5 days later, she is declared brain dead and removed from life support. November 4th, 1982. Sweeney is convicted of voluntary manslaughter, downgraded from second-degree murder, in September 1983. 6.5 years. He serves 2.5.
The trial is taught in U.S. law schools as a foundational example of victim blame jury instructions. The ex-boyfriend strangler archetype is the most common pattern in the file. The victim is the only person who, in advance, recognizes what is about to happen.
7 archetypes: celebrity obsessive, fan-turned-assassin, political obsessive, romantic avenger, suicidal devotee, celebrity hunter, ex-boyfriend strangler. The patterns rhyme. Bardo overlapped with Chapman on the celebrity letter and the gun in a bag. Hinckley overlapped with López on the unsent video diary and the parasocial god. Cunanan overlapped with all of them on the cross-country evidence trail. Sweeney is the outlier. He is the only one of the 7 who had any actual relationship with his victim. The investigators studying stalking pathology have a saying: the obsessive never knows the victim. The victim almost always knows the obsessive. Every killer stalker on this file is the same shape underneath: a man, or in one case a woman, whose interior life has, over months or years, slowly substituted a real person for a stranger, and who has decided, on the day of the killing, that the substitution is finally real enough to act on. The 7.5 million stalking cases the United States Department of Justice records each year are mostly invisible. The 7 on this file are not.
These are real cases, real verdicts, real losses. Sources are listed at the end of this video and in the description below. If you or someone you know is being stalked, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. Free, confidential, 24 hours a day. If this casework matters to you, subscribe and turn on notifications. New episodes every week.